Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Thank you. Okay.
Okay, you're right.
Okay, thank you, members. Okay, the next item is agenda item 17, and it's notice of motion. Councillor Barr to move.
Jason Barr online here. Happy to second, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barr.
There's growing concern in our council area over the number of premises being used as bail hostels, or otherwise known as approved accommodation. These premises provide temporary accommodation for individuals who the courts release on bail, but who lack a permanent address. And unlike other forms of accommodation, which require planning permission and licenses, as far as I'm aware, no permission is required to run a bail hostel. There would appear to be no control over the number or the location of approved bail accommodation in the district, and more importantly, no consultation with local residents who may not be aware of the fact that someone out in bail for a serious offence, for example, crime of a violent or sexual nature, is living literally next door to them. These individuals, who are usually parachuted in by stealth, are most often from other areas such as Belfast or other towns outside the district. It's been said that state-funded temporary accommodation is now the most lucrative form of residential tenancy, providing a huge incentive for investors to cash in. It's also been said that the city has become the bail capital of the north, with a large percentage of the entire temporary accommodation budget being spent in this district. I fully appreciate the fact that those going through the justice system have a right to a roof over their head and a right to be treated with dignity. But our communities also have a right to know who is living among them, and if they or their children are being exposed to danger. A couple of years back, we had trouble in Stewart with premises being used as bail hostels, so much so that residents took to the streets to protest. More recently, we had a premises in Cloncar being used despite being literally yards from a primary school. There was another incident in the district, 6th of October, it's sub judice, so can't really discuss it here, but I'm sure everybody knows what I'm on about. The probation board of Northern Ireland and the housing executive would appear to be the two main statutory bodies concerned with recommending and housing these individuals. The issue seems to be a bit of an elephant in the room at the moment, but it's an issue which needs addressed. And I feel these two agencies have a duty to come to a meeting of full council to address concerns and to answer any questions we as public representatives have. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councillor Barr. Members, I haven't seen anybody. Oh, Councillor McGinley.
Good Mayor, and thank you to Councillor Barr for bringing it forward. On behalf of Sinn Féin, we will be supporting the motion. There are issues that are there, and we don't feel that there'll be any issue in us having a conversation with the probation board and the housing executive just to make sure that the proper processes are being followed. So we're content to support the motion.
Thank you, Councillor McGinley. Alderman Hussey.
Similar thanks to Councillor Barr for the motion. Simply an invite to the responsible bodies to come along and do a bit of explaining of the situation to council. I don't see anything wrong with that. We certainly would support that. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Councillor Boyle.
Thank you. And again, similar to other speakers, and in particular, thanks to Councillor Barr for bringing forward this motion. And on behalf of the SDLP, of course, we're content to support the motion that's in front of us. It's a very hot topic, I think, is one way of putting it. And I and my colleagues would welcome an opportunity to hear from the two statutory agencies mentioned in the motion, to understand further the challenges, opportunities, potential solutions. And just one final point, and I'm sure Councillor Barr can clarify it, but I'm assuming in the wording of the motion he means a special full council meeting, which would be just dedicated to this one subject matter, and so therefore wouldn't be distracted by other elements of an agenda. But on behalf of the SDLP, Mayor, content to progress as suggested through the motion.
Thank you, Councillor Boyle. Alderman Wilkinson.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to Councillor Barr for bringing this forward. The DUP welcomes the proposal and have the opportunity to understand over all processes and gain a better understanding of the complex issues surrounding the bail and rehabilitation into society within our district. We look forward to hearing from the two agencies as well. Thank you very much, Mayor, for letting me on.
Thank you, Alderman. Councillor Gallagher.
Thank you, Mayor. And reading this, I'm sort of in two minds of where I was at with this, and the reason being, in my other world, I work directly with young people, and on many occasions, those young people find themselves in difficulty with the justice system for one reason or another. And through some of the work that I do, I put young people on the right track, and I've had good successes in that. What I would be cautious about is maybe trying to eradicate these, if you want to call them bail addresses. And when, seen it somewhere, where there's a key word in this, and the key word is approved. They're approved, and they're approved for a reason. That with all the best word of intention, to minimise risk to the public, to themselves, and to maybe potential victims. So that's the concept. What I've come into working with this is that when young people get into trouble and they may find themselves remanded in Magabry, that's where they would remain if they didn't. If a court imposes you can't be within a 30-mile district of, say, for example, Strabane town, then they have to go outside that. And when they go outside that, they may not have the surroundings or the support to get into a home address. But if we were taking restrictions on not having bail addresses, then what we would have is an overpopulated prison system full of young people. So while I can understand the proposers saying, let's come in, let's inquire, let's make policies and procedures of what's going on, I don't think we should be doing that with the intention of undermining the facilities that are there. There's also some of these accommodations, there's also the use of people who are in social services care that get in here because there is no beds that are available. And if a service is being provided, we need to welcome that. So I would just be very cautious that we're not keeping people in jail that are not supposed to be there. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin. Councillor Boyle, you did ask some clarification there. I think it's a special council meeting because we don't get people to this meeting anyway for deportation. So you content with that?
Yeah, of course, that's just the clarity I needed. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, members. Members, I do not see any other person who's looking. Oh, Councillor Harkin. Come on.
Thank you, Mayor. And I hope your next words were going to be, I'm going to bring the meeting to an end. But because there is the protest that the council is backing, but on this motion, I'm happy to support it. I think it's a very important discussion. We have had quite a few conversations with statutory bodies, homelessness services, the housing executive through the task force that was set up to look at some issues around Abercorn Road, if the mayor remembers. And I think those of us that were involved in that got a better grasp on some of these issues around what are called bail houses. And there are issues, there's also misinformation, and there's a lot of complexity to it all. And there are vulnerable people involved. There are residents who are asking questions. So I think it's important that we get that everybody has a better grasp of what's happening and what the housing executive is doing in response and what's happening with the justice system. I think we have to be careful with the discussion because I think there's a dangerous way a group of people can be scapegoated. I also think that the housing executive here has taken some action to address some of the issues that were raised by residents. But I do think that it's having further discussion about it and getting further clarification is more than welcome.
Thank you, Councillor Harkin. Okay, members, I don't see anybody else. Councillor Donnelly, would you finish quickly, if you don't mind?
Here.
Yeah. Somebody else online?
Yeah, as Jason Barr here.
Okay, Councillor Donnelly first and then Jason Barr.
Look, I just have to sum. First of all, I think the use of the phrase justice system is a misnomer, given the historical situation in this part of Ireland. But in this, I get the spirit of it, and it does no harm to have that conversation. But I do think there is a lot of misinformation out there. There is, and as Councillor Harkin pointed out, some of the most vulnerable people in our society. There's a huge problem with resources, say for instance mental health, and I'm sure it's even more acute when it comes to people who are through the system. So I just think that we do need to be very sensitive. We do need to be, and that there can be sometimes and I use this words deliberately, like this witch hunt, where anybody in one of these is seen to be, there's a lot of criticism of them from certain aspects of the community or neighbours. I think it's very sensitive and it needs to be handled very, very carefully, but the bit would do absolutely no harm. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Barr?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll keep this brief because I know that there's an event out at quarterly, but just to say, look, thanks to Raymond Barr for bringing this forward, and to personally thank him for the support that he's given. I know we can't go into too much detail, but just the personal support that he's given to us over the past 2 months of asking questions and raising this issue. But look, I'll just keep it short. More than happy to support, and I look forward to the two organisations to come in to ask questions and get more information on these issues. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, members, I do not hear any dissenting voices on this issue. Can I presume it is unanimous? Oh, you have to sum up?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you to members for supporting the motion. In relation to what Councillor Yeller has just said, taking on the consideration what he has said, I can see a lot of the logic in everything that he has said, and probably would agree with nearly everything he said. But there are questions to be asked around risk assessment, locations, monitoring, and high concentration. And I think the only way we're going to get any answers that will satisfy ourselves and the public is to get these statutory agencies here. I have no problem with a special meeting and let them enlighten us around procedures and processes. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, members. Okay, members, is there anybody who is going to be voting against this motion? So everyone is supportive. Thank you. I'm going to conclude this meeting for today to allow members to go to the vigil, and I will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Thank you.